How do you feel about 6ix9ine calling Snoop Dogg a snitch?
He did snitch. And we put up paperwork and showing it. So he did snitch or try to snitch. Snitching is when you're telling something that you was a part of. He was just throwing stuff out there to be messy. Took off running like a little straight to the police, where they admit in their statement to the police, where they had saw the police at, they ran straight to the police.
Diddy has been accused for being behind the Tupac hit for a very long time now. Now that Keffe D has been arrested, things are starting to unfold, and we've got more developments coming in by the day. The feds are now looking at both Snoop Dogg and Diddy for Tupac's murder, and who knows what else might go down. According to devoted fans, the one and only music mogul Diddy has been long suspected of having a hand in Tupac's murder and the demise of several other major figures in the industry. And these allegations, according to fans and even some real investigators, weren't without some substance. This guy seems to be linked, in one way or another, to all of these deaths. Even Keefe D, the person who was arrested for Tupac's murder, claimed that Diddy was the one who ordered the hit, yet authorities never seemed to take any action on it. Diddy went about his business unscathed.
Do you feel like Puffy owe you?
Yeah, he should. I think he should look out. He look out for everybody fucking else. I just think Puff, he needs to be a stand-up man, man. That dude sat up there and did that time for you or nothing like that. Then you got this man living down there in police, living all fucking bad, man. You seem like you just leave your people for dead, man.
But it looks like the tides might be changing real soon. A lot of people, including Keefe D, are stepping up to talk about Diddy's involvement in not just Tupac's murder, but in several other crimes. And one of these voices is none other than the legendary rapper Snoop Dogg. Allegedly, he's finally opening up about everything he knows regarding Tupac's murder, and a good portion of it points back to Puffy. What's more, it's not just talk. The iconic rapper might be facing arrest soon and is expected to testify against Diddy in court. The mystery surrounding Tupac's murder has always been one of the biggest enigmas in the world of rap. The rapper that was killed in the late 90s, and for over 2 decades now, the identity of the culprit remains shrouded in darkness. During all those years, various theories and suspects emerged, but the case never seemed to come to a resolution. However, things finally took a turn last week. After more than 2 decades of investigation, the case was announced as concluded. As soon as this news broke, fans believed that Tupac's family would finally get the justice they longed for. Everyone had one person's name on their mind, as we all thought we knew who the real murderer was, and we wanted to see them face the consequences of their actions. Fans waited patiently for the arrest of this person, but when the announcement came, many were pretty shocked. The authorities had arrested Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, a gang member, for Tupac's murder. Now, it's not that Keefe wasn't involved in the murder, but he wasn't the mastermind behind this whole operation. While he might have been the one who pulled the trigger, he likely had someone paying him to take out Tupac. And if you've been following along lately, you've probably guessed who that someone was. That person was none other than P. Diddy. Seems that Diddy had the motives and the history that made him a likely suspect, and this wasn't the first time he'd been connected to a crime like this. Even back in the late 90s, when Keefe was arrested and investigated in this same case, he was dropping Diddy's name back then.
You said that Puffy called and said, "Was that us?" And you didn't say nothing.
I didn't say nothing.
People seem to agree with Keefe on this one. Even though his stories have huge holes in them, folks still think the Puffy part is correct. One person wrote, "Keefe could be lying about a lot of shit, but he's right about Puff. Every time something happens around him, he somehow manages to escape without a scratch, and the people around him fall." One question still remains though, and that's why would Keefe D go around and talk about these things as if nothing could go wrong for him? Well, Keefe D had a strong desire to be a street legend and sought recognition for his involvement in the Tupac case. He was determined to claim credit for Tupac's fate, which is why he wrote a book, gave interviews, and took various actions. However, when the investigator dropped a bombshell and informed Keefe D that he was also working on a book of his own and a film, it was all part of a strategy to deceive Keefe. The end goal was to trick Keefe into reiterating his statements, this time without the protection of an agreement that his words wouldn't be used against him. The authorities executed this elaborate plan, and it took 27 years to unfold. This was not a game of checkers, y'all. It was a game of chess. They set Keefe up from the very get-go, luring him into going against his own word. Keefe became jealous when he thought that the FBI agents who had been investigating the Tupac case were planning to create their books and movies. He believed that the entire case might be getting dismissed or even closed. Keefe D felt if they were doing it, what would prevent him from doing the same thing and profiting from it? When Vlad asked Keefe about the FBI agent Greg Kading, who had interviewed him and then released his book about it, Keefe explained that he got angry. He believed that Kading was essentially stealing his Tupac story, which prompted Keefe to create his own book with the testimony testimonies and everything else, having someone else write it. From there, all they had to do was get Keefe to appear on shows like Vlad, Art of Dialogue, and that cable TV show in '98, where he talked about it repeatedly. The intention was to keep the story alive and generate further interest. It should be noted that Suge Knight paid $60K to Orlando to get him to testify that he was not assaulting him inside the MGM casino, but was instead trying to help him. The payment was meant to prevent Suge from facing a probation violation. However, Suge still ended up behind bars. That's his own fault there. As time went on, the tension between Suge and others on that side began to ease when word spread that the $60K had settled the matter. However, that ongoing legal trouble persisted for him. So as more individuals involved in this case were eliminated or incapacitated, Keefe D became the last figure involved. Once Diddy's associate, Zip, was out the picture, that's when everyone started taking actions. They worked on getting the book together, setting up interviews, making significant moves. To the public, it may have appeared as if they retired from one aspect, but in reality, they shifted their focus to other matters. They were working on the Tupac case remotely from home, as if they never actually stopped on the investigation of Tupac's murder. That's why this case resurfaced. If they had genuinely stopped, they would have never come up with a new indictment for Keefe D and the two remaining individuals in this case. So now they're looking at Diddy and Snoop Dogg. They're also attempting to get Mike Tyson to testify about this too. Now, it's also important to remember that Mike Tyson had his own history and altercation with Keefe D. Keefe D sent a warning message to Mike Tyson, cautioning him that he wouldn't last 5 seconds toe-to-toe with him, implying it could lead to another tragic situation.
Like you don't know me. You don't want to lose your life behind no bullshit.
Numerous individuals are caught up in this complex web, and now they're examining those in New York, including Diddy and his associates. They're looking at Diddy's friend, the person who wrote the check, Aaliyah's manager, and the individuals who started the record label to cover the $1 million hit on Tupac. They attempted to hide the money and engage in various actions. This sequence of events is one of the most convoluted and bizarre situations, man. Not only did they attempt to plan and set up Tupac, they also shot him and tried to conceal evidence by repainting the rental car white. It was a rental car, and Keefe D mentioned that he was being scrutinized because they were attempting to locate the people who could buy the rental car from him, finance the operation, and procure the weapon that was used. But Keefe put himself in the spotlight by mentioning it in his statements, writing it in a book, and repeatedly discussing it in interviews. He actually believed he could get away with it, but in reality, he was given him more ammunition to come after him. At some point though, Keefe also mentioned that it was Diddy who paid a substantial sum, around $1 million bones, to have Pac taken out. According to Keefe, there are no receipts for this because, well, he claims he never actually received payment for Diddy's dirty work. Diddy was supposed to transfer the money to a middleman who would then pass it on to Keefe. However, the middleman apparently used the money to open up a club and left Keefe high and dry. All of this was on record and was initially what Keefe had stated. Yet the authorities didn't investigate Diddy, which raised suspicions because why was this powerful figure not being looked into despite substantial evidence against him? According to authorities, the missing piece was substantial evidence. They claimed they couldn't just rely on Keefe's word to make an arrest. They needed concrete proof, and they might have found it through one of the most prominent names in the rap industry now, Snoop Dogg. According to sources, Snoop Dogg possesses crucial information about Diddy's involvement in Tupac's murder. Not only that, he reportedly talked to Keefe before his arrest and knows exactly what happened that night Tupac was tragically lost. Snoop is no stranger to murder cases. As some might recall, that murder was the case that gave him. He understands the ins and outs of these cases and what information matters to the authorities. According to insiders, Snoop has decided to speak up about the case and is ready to share everything he knows about Tupac's murderer. However, the focus is not on Keefe this time, it's squarely on P. Diddy, the man who seemingly escapes consequences time and time again. Allegedly, Snoop is already cooperating with the authorities, providing a statement where he discusses how Diddy paid Keefe to eliminate Tupac. You might be wondering why the authorities would take Snoop's word for it. Well, they don't just take his word, and Snoop knows that. According to the rumors on the street, Snoop has concrete proof that directly links P. Diddy to Tupac's murder. But that's not all either. There's a twist to this story. Allegedly, Snoop won't walk away unscathed from this either. Something in his statement might incriminate him as well. There's also a theory that Snoop is prepared to sacrifice himself in the pursuit of justice for Tupac's family and fans. As soon as the news of Keefe's arrest was announced, he could not sit idly by and let the real culprit walk free. So he decided to step up. Snoop might end up getting arrested again for his involvement in the case, not as someone who participated in the shooting, but because he stayed silent all these years and didn't speak up. The authorities might interpret his silence as aiding and abetting. While fans might be disappointed to hear this, The common goal is to see Diddy face justice so he can't keep avoiding consequences for his actions. It's about time this music mogul faces the ramifications of his deeds. What y'all think is going to happen at the end of the day? Will we see Diddy or Snoop arrested? Let us know what you think down in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, click that like button, subscribe to the channel so you can keep fresh hip-hop news coming to your feed each and every day. And as always, don't forget to keep it RIZZLE RIZZLE.